2.
Welcome to our
Show.
review.
Frame rate.
Let's start.
So it's been a big week in cinema.
In cinema, yes it has.
The Force Awakens came out on Thursday.
The 17th.
It was the 7th.
December. Just write that down.
Yeah.
This is going to be a spoiler-free, correct? But you know, we're going to discuss a few things. So if you don't want to know anything about this movie, then get out.
And I mean, you're probably here to watch our review because we've seen it and formulated a few ideas on it. How this is going to work is that we're going to give each other 60 seconds to talk about what each other found in watching the film. Ready, Matt?
Am I going first?
Yeah, you go first because I'm going to be telling you. Alright, ready?
I went on first, but okay.
Alright, 3, 2, 1.
I thought overall it was actually a really great film. Its biggest strength is its character building. I think all the new characters are really likable, and the ones that return are also very likable. I think it is more of a setup than anything else. Yeah. I think it more or less catches you up on the last 30 years of what has happened in this world, and it's trying to introduce you to these characters. The plot is very similar to previous Star Wars movies like A New Hope and some other ones, but I think that was kind of necessary to kind of regain the audience that didn't really like the prequels, because I think they just needed to kind of go back to the basics with this one, and I think they've definitely achieved it. I think it's a very safe movie, but overall it's very well made, it's got good cinematography, it's got good writing, and I've got 2 seconds left, so no, it was good.
No. Oh, well.
Kind of wish we could edit that 60 seconds, but that doesn't make much sense.
30 seconds.
Just cut all the R's that I'm inevitably probably did. Start. I did. Start.
Cool. Force Awakens was very good. I've seen it. I guess I've seen it twice now. First time I wasn't entirely sure. There's a lot that JJ plays with in the storyline in terms of Star Wars canon that's been solidified over the last 30 years. Elements I found really good. Like the acting was fantastic. Some really interesting new characters. And of course the old faces show again because you can't really do a new Star Wars film without bringing back, Luke, Han, Leia and that whole gang. The production design is fantastic, and I really enjoy the music, except I don't think there's that iconic, John Williams kind of misses that iconic scores and melody that he kind of had in the old ones, but this soundtrack is still fantastic. It is a safe movie, like Matt said, but overall I think he did an excellent job. It's well worth seeing.
Stop.
That's good, so we both liked it.
Yeah. Good thing on our first show we both agree and there is no argument.
No argument.
So we can probably just end it there. It was a good... okay, see ya. I don't know what any of...
Obviously being a film show, we can't just talk about our film within 60 seconds and be done with it. We've actually got to look into the plot and the story and discuss what we thought worked with all that. Now, I guess I'll start with... Actually, let's start with where we saw it. Like, where did you see it?
I saw it at IMAX in Darling Harbour, and
Wait, you saw it at IMAX?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So I thought you went to Force. Don't worry. What did you think about? There's the opening part where we meet Poe, and it feels a lot like plot elements early on start to sort of mirror the ones that happened in Star Wars 4.
Yeah. Well, I think at the very beginning I kind of thought, like, I think even the first shot, if I remember correctly, was like, it was very similar to the first shot of A New Hope. Like, the long shit going by.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh yeah, that's a nice, like, homage to the films. And then kind of like, it was all about putting the information into the droid and then sending them off, which was kind of similar. Like, okay, that's another similarity.
Yeah.
And kind of, like, throughout the film there kept going more similarities, and I was like, okay, that's like, I didn't mind too much. Like, I know other people, it was like a big thing, but
we've had 3 prequels that have been they've been their own stories pretty much. They haven't, I mean, besides leading up to where characters in the original trilogy would start 4, 5, and 6, they haven't dealt much with the information sort of presented to us in A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Revenge of the Jedi sort of thing. This one has a lot of...
Revenge of the Jedi.
Friendship of the Jedi?
Yeah, Friendship.
Yeah. This one, you feel like JJ has definitely played it safe, which is both good and bad. That's a bit harsh word. We'll go good and interesting.
I feel like, I know some people were kind of saying how, because I think I even felt this, that like, I think it was a big of a setup for the next movie.
This is a spoiler-free review. I'm not sure if we put that out there. But
I think I'd said that at one point, but okay. This is going to be a spoiler-free, correct? But you know,
doesn't matter.
It felt like a whole bunch of setup for the next film. And I know some people were like, well, I don't want to watch, I wanted to just watch this movie and I want it to be self-contained.
Yep.
And I don't want to watch the lead up. I don't want to have to see the rest of the story in another movie.
Yeah.
But I kind of felt like it was a really enjoyable setup.
Yeah.
Like, I had a lot of fun with the setup.
Yeah.
Like, I do think there is enough to kind of be different from it, though. I still don't think, like, those plot elements are very similar, but I think, like, especially the characters are different enough to be like...
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Rey is a really interesting character. Some people have talked about her being a Mary Sue. And look, we kind of get that with Rey because she starts off mirroring sort of like Skywalker's origins, but she's an adept pilot, which we actually had no idea that she could, you know, fly things before or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know where she got that experience. It's just to be a pilot.
She's a scavenger, so her survival abilities are pretty on point. She's a good fighter, sticking up for herself. We find out later that she's never had a blaster before, and yet she's also pretty good at blasting organised armies away. And I feel like we could be going in circles.
A little bit. So, like, the story is that basically, it was in like an art book or something like that, but basically, like, the rebellion beat the Empire.
Yes.
And then they had this disarmament treaty between the three empires.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this subdivision. They each other, and there was something like the Empire was apparently a part of the subdivision. It's kind of reflects the post-war World War I way.
Yeah, so pretty much in summary, the Republic is the governing power in the galaxy at the beginning of the film. There's a resistance, which is pretty much the rebellion in the previous films. So the rebellion has become the resistance works for the Republic, and that is against the First Order, which was a subdivision of the Empire in the last film, but is now the Empire fully in this film, and will probably be for the next 2 films.
Again, this is probably something that I guess they'll explain in the next movie. Like, no mention of it in the actual movie.
Yeah, this is taken for granted when you start the film. So,
and yeah, I think that is just a kind of a reflection on trying to move away from the prequels because the prequels, a lot of complaints about the prequels was that they explain too much.
And now
so now they kind of like we want to separate as much as we can from them, and we're not going to explain it.
I was very excited to see this film. Thankfully, I didn't start reading into the trailers and stuff because I'm sure you could work out some stuff from the
A lot of it was predicted, I think.
The story, sure, is, you know, it's easy to take. It's nothing revolutionary, but it's told really well. The Jedi lightsaber action is also a lot more brutal this time around. Yeah,
I think they tried to, again, trying to separate themselves from the prequels. They, like, I think complaints about the prequels fights were that they were very choreographed and they didn't feel like real fights.
Yeah.
In this one it's more like dirty, and it's like they just basically they're just like hitting each other, and there's no real technique to it.
People take wounds. Didn't notice too many limbs being cut off, which is a particular fetish of the previous Star Wars
Hands
films.
mainly.
Yeah.
Arms type thing. But yes.
It's more like taking serious, just like. Pretty much with Rey, one of the main characters being Mary Sue, The thing with Rey as the Mary Sue character that's argued. What? It could be in the garage. Daddy, you in the garage? The other thing I'm kind of against that idea though is the fact that JJ portrays vulnerability within his characters really well. Where was I going to go with that? Alright, so Mary Sue. Okay. The thing about Rey being a Mary Sue character though is... Mum, what are you doing? What?
I'll see you next week.
I've had enough of this. Thing about
Mary
Sue. Yeah. After you. The thing about this comparison with Rey being the Mary Sue character is that I think it checks out except for the fact that JJ does vulnerability really well. So at no point was I able to think ahead about what might happen because it kind of, though it was resembled number 4, it was still unpredictable, like, you know, didn't really know how the story was going to go. He's changed a few things to the Star Wars universe. The most primary one in my eye was that the First Order stormtroopers are pretty good at killing things. Not like the stormtroopers in 4, 5 and 6. These guys will, you know, ravage and destroy locations.
Actually hit things.
Yeah, no. It was weird when they kind of broke into song and dance. I didn't see it coming. We are the order of the people, and I thought it was a bit strange, but he just decided to put that in. Pretty soon I found myself singing along. It was quite an enjoyable musical, and it's probably, it's threatening Chicago in terms of... Are we talking about Mary Sue? I forgot.
I think it's time to go back to the...
To what, Matt? What? What did you say? What?
I think it's time to go back to the home.
Which one? Which is kind of the Mary Sue... You know what? I have no idea. She may very well be a Mary Sue. I didn't think so because I didn't think it was as blunt as that. I thought there was a lot about her which we discovered.
I think at the end of the day, she was a really just likable character, and I think when I was actually watching the movie, I didn't even think about that. I like her, and I think...
Oh yeah, no, I like her too. I think she's, yeah, quite enjoyable, and more importantly, I'm interested to see where her story goes in the next one.
Exactly. I think she's going to go through, I'm sure she'll go through many downs throughout this trilogy.
I mean, I kind of, in a way, this sounds completely demented, but I hope she does, because then that will make, like...
She'll definitely. She's going to have some tough time when they get to the next movie.
The other thing is, I've been trying to think a lot about like how that talks about the meta text underlying the Star Wars universe, because in a way it's almost like this new generation, it's almost like it's self-aware of the success of the original trilogy, and so these new characters almost represent this audience coming back to see all their favourite characters again and to celebrate this incredible saga. Does that explain why he decided to mirror it so much of number 4? And I think that's really clever and subtle.
Like, I don't think it was an accident that it's very similar to the old ones.
Yeah.
I think this is the type of movie that they had to make for this one. To like...
Reboot the series.
Yeah,
reboot. So we had a lot more faith.
Bring it back.
Yep.
People are liking it. It's got these good characters that you like. And it's a good movie, go watch it.
Yeah, it's good. Matt, what would you rate it?
I would rate it 8.9 out of 7, 8.4, 8.5. That's it. So, somewhere between 8. What would you give? What would you rate it? Out of 8.5. What would you rate it? Out of 10.
I would probably rate it... we're doing out of 10.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 is reasonable. I'd probably give it an 8.8. 8.1 or 8. You know what? I'm going to give it 8.1. 8.1 out of 10. It's definitely going to last as a film.
Yeah, I think the biggest compliment you can give to it is that it feels like a Star Wars movie. And
yeah.
It's fun, and I think I'm more excited having watched this for the next movie.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that movie, I like the director, Ryan Johnson. He's done quite a few good things.
What else has he done?
He's done Looper, and he did a movie called Brick, and he's done some Breaking Bad directing, and I think it's going to probably stray a little bit more from the formula, and it's going to be a little different. It's going to have the new characters more, and I think it's going to be maybe quite a good movie.
That's a good point, because the way they did this film, they could not repeat it for the next one. If they did the next one like they did this one, then we'd be scratching our heads and being a bit more critical. Okay, well there we have it. That's the Dressmaker and the Star Wars review. I guess that's all about what we got time for, but I mean it's been a big year of films.
Big film year.
At Hero Frame Rate.
Cut to a clip. Cut to a clip of the highlights of the year. That was fun. That was good sense.
Yeah, no, we've been doing this for a long time now.
Good.
We're ready to start making our show because we've talked about it for
a while.
Yeah, this is almost like a dream come true.
And we're gonna take a little break for Christmas. Just
to calm down. We might crack one more in before the new year. So well, it's been a year. I guess from the team here at
come in, guys. Everyone come in.
Come on. Oh wait. Are you coming back, Dad? Dad?
Just let it in.